No matter how bad you think it is, just remember, you could always be Mike Gundy. Happy Tuesday, and welcome into the PHNX Sun Devils show, of course, presented by Branded Bills. Make sure you head to brandedbills.com and use that promo code BBPHNX for 15% off your first order. I'm Anthony Totri, still being abandoned by my co-host, Senor Rubis, but it's okay. He should return at some point this week, maybe. You never know. We do have the Deli Man, though, behind the Mac, making all of the sweet magic happen. Hit that like button, hit the subscribe button, and drop a 5-star review wherever you get your podcast. Shane's doing the little dance. I just hope y'all know that. Y'all understand that. We got him in the chat. Lee Corso, Parker, Deborah, Short Bus as well. Love to see everybody in the chat for another Tuesday edition of the PHNX Sun Devils show. We've got some sound for you guys from QB1, what he had to say ahead of Arizona State's matchup against the TCU Horned Frogs, and got some interesting sound that maybe we'll get to on tomorrow's show when we take a deeper look at Josh Hoover and that TCU offense, kind of about how Josh Hoover may be the best quarterback that Arizona State has seen since actually joining the Big 12. Furry or not, Hoover is that guy. But today, I want to spend a lot of time and a lot of focus on this Arizona State offense, because it does feel like every single game, when you get to a post-game show or when you hop on social media, the discourse is still about the Arizona State offense. I think most of us can agree that the Arizona State offense for the first couple weeks of the season has felt maybe a little lethargic, but it's definitely getting to be a little bit more consistent. I think you are starting to see it progress in the right direction. Is there still room for this offense to grow? Absolutely. Have we seen what this offense looks like at its best? I think absolutely not. Now, in short, is this the week? Is this the week that the Arizona State offense puts it all together? Is this the week that the fireworks come to fruition, that you see a Heisman candidate at quarterback airing it out to a potential Biletnikoff finalist in Jordyn Tyson with a trio of running backs and dynamic weapons around it all? I think it could be. I think this could be the perfect matchup for Arizona State to actually put together the offensive firepower that we've been hearing about and talking so much about over the offseason. And really, once we found out Sam was coming back, that was the expectation, right? Is that you were going to see all of these different weapons actually turn it on for the Arizona State offense. So I kind of want to go tier by tier, level by level here of this Arizona State offense. What we've seen to work, what we've seen to not work, and really how can this offense exploit a TCU defense that is one of the worst in the conference when it comes to defending opposing quarterbacks. Of course, when you talk about the Arizona State offense, though, it always starts with wide receiver one, Jordyn Tyson. I saw a mock draft this morning that had Jordyn Tyson going second overall to the Tennessee Titans.
That was Sparky's mock draft.
It wasn't Sparky's mock draft. I saw Keith Abney in that same mock draft in the first round.
What?
It wasn't an Arizona State fan. I checked. It was not an Arizona State fan.
Who was it?
It's some dude with like 30-something thousand followers doing an NFL mock draft.
And no Sam.
No Sam.
Was that the same one that had Lenore Sellers going 1-1?
Yes.
Okay.
Sellers went 1. You had Tyson 2, and you had Abney 15. Top 20 pick in the NFL draft. So it is what it is. But again, regardless, we can all agree that Jordyn Tyson is the best player on this Arizona State offense, certainly the most productive through the first 4 games of the season. Don't take my word for it. Take a look at the numbers here. Nobody has more receiving yards in the Big 12 than Arizona State's wide receiver one, Jordyn Tyson. Of course, you have Eric McAllister, the TCU wide receiver coming to town, who does have 320 receiving yards on the year. Now, that's inflated. He had 254 yards last week. Traditionally, TCU's number one wide receiver has been Jordan Dwyer, who is a dog in his own right. Josh Cameron is the third wide receiver on this list with 309 receiving yards. Then you have Jace Brown at 284 and Coy Eakin at Texas Tech with 260. But again, getting back to Jordyn Tyson, this is somebody in this Arizona State offense that has done it all. Right. He can be a down the field threat. He can win jump balls. He runs really crisp routes. He's got phenomenal run blocking. And he's got a really good sense of zone defenses and how they will try and stack up and exploit this Arizona State offense. Jordyn Tyson's great against man coverage. I believe PFF before last week's game, Jordyn Tyson had the best grade of any wide receiver in the nation against man coverage. Says a whole hell of a lot. You saw Baylor really try and take Jordyn Tyson out of the game, bracketing Jordyn Tyson, doing everything in their power to ensure that Jordyn Tyson wasn't going to beat them. Still wasn't necessarily enough. Jordyn Tyson, of course, coming down with a massive touchdown for the Sun Devils against Baylor in Waco. So as much as you want to try and take away Jordyn Tyson, he's still going to get his. It's what he does. It's what all the really talented college football wide receivers do. And he is going to continue to be a weapon for this Arizona State offense going into this week. But it's not just Jordyn Tyson that, if you were to ask me, are the most dynamic, versatile guys on this offense that need to have the ball in their hand. Of course, Raleek Brown. Raleek Brown is another really dynamic weapon for this Arizona State offense that I know the numbers weren't great last week if you look at them specifically. But again, I think there's an opportunity here this week to really use Raleek Brown in the passing game, to exploit these matchups with safeties. If he's in man coverage with linebackers, there isn't a linebacker in this conference that can run with Raleek Brown. It's just there isn't one, especially not one that's not on the Arizona State roster. So these are the two guys that I think, again, if you're looking to this week and you're like, okay, TCU defensively does X, Y, and Z, they don't necessarily match up well against any offense. But when you look at this offense specifically, the talent that you have on the perimeter in Tyson, the versatility that you have with Raleek Brown, these are the two guys that every single game for the remainder of the season need to be heavily involved in this offense. I get it. We'll talk about the other running backs a little bit later on in the show, how Kenny and Marcus are maybe going to use those guys the rest of the season, specifically this week against TCU. But at the end of the day, if Arizona State's offense is going to work, if it's going to be explosive, it is going to be Jordyn Tyson and Raleek Brown. And I think maybe the more interesting part about this is, and we'll hear from Sam a little bit later, this offense has really been missing the over-the-top shots, the explosive plays. And Jordyn Tyson and Raleek Brown are the types of guys that it feels like have the explosiveness to take the top off a defense, to make a 10-yard gain into a 60-yard touchdown. But those guys aren't necessarily the ones being targeted on those deep shots. So I think that's something that when we talk about this Arizona State offense, the key things that are missing, and Shane, you can correct me if I'm missing something here. I feel like the things that we're not seeing from this Arizona State offense that are maybe the difference makers between us saying us is a good game offensively versus this is a great game offensively is Sam and these wideouts aren't connecting on those deep balls. Right. And then I would say the second thing overall with this offense is the red zone offense in and of itself is not necessarily efficient. It's not what you'd want it to be.
No, that's what's been happening, and Kenny knows that too. The good thing is those are easy fixes because it is not a personnel problem. You don't have bad players. If you had bad players, newsflash, you can't do anything about it in college.
Not at this point in the year.
No, exactly. Not during the year at all. So that's the good thing. I was going to say there's a bad thing, but I don't think there is a bad thing because everything's perfect. They're going to beat TCU and they're going to go undefeated in conference play.
Yeah, I think that's certainly a possibility. Wes Bezzy in the chat saying we need more Malik McClain red zone jump balls. He gets one-on-one coverage through the brackets JT sees. Yeah, I think Malik McClain, and that's somebody we'll talk about a little bit later, but I think in all honesty, like if it were me, again, I'm not saying I know more or anything when it comes to Marcus Arroyo and these Arizona State coaches. If it were me, AJE is getting the jump balls. AJE needs to see the field. Shaman has been phenomenal. We'll get to Shaman Mateer a little bit later on in the show. But at the end of the day, I think what you have talent-wise in AJ is worthy of seeing the field. And I get you have Kamari Anderson. I know you have Cameron Harpool. But at the end of the day, if we're in the red zone, like it's not necessarily for a lack of creativity in the offense. I think it's almost too much creativity. I think it's almost like you are like a kid that just got a fresh pack of like the 50 crayons or colored pencils, and you're like, all it is a forest picture. So you just need
green.
You just
brown.
need green, brown, and like
some
maybe
blue.
A little blue, right? That's all you need. So why am I looking at the end of the game and the whole colored image? You got the trees are pink, the branches are purple. The sky is orange.
They drew a guy in there. You're like, I don't want a guy.
Yeah, like why'd you draw him in there? You didn't need him.
Who is that? Why does he look like me?
It's giving too much creativity here for me.
I also think it is a little bit too safe sometimes too, because like I think they're overthinking it at points, but I also think they're overthinking it with trying to keep Sam away from being magnificent and trying to make that extra play. Like they're trying to keep this team almost in a box, and that might sound like counterintuitive to what you were just saying, because you were saying there's too much creativity, but I think the creativity is more so overthinking. Whereas just kind of do the stuff that they were doing last year. I know you can't do some of the things where you think, oh, we can get into 2nd and 7 because Scat's going to get us 6. Like, oh my God, yeah, the sharpener built in the box. That was awesome.
Wes Bezzy, that's a great comment.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking of when you said that. That's the sharpener. But I almost feel like they need to just be okay with, look, it's Sam and Tyson is double cover on this play.
Yeah.
It's Sam, and we trust his deep ball enough to where we think we can win with one-on-one coverage on a 9, on a go ball.
And that's what needs to, I mean, moving a little bit more away from the red zone and more to the deep balls and the shot plays. Like Jordyn Tyson, we've all seen it, has that big playmaking ability, right? He is the guy that could take the top off, do those types of things. But I think it almost benefits Arizona State's offense more to really utilize some of those other weapons when it comes to those deep balls and those shots, right? We've seen him target Jaren Hamilton a number of times, right? We know the speed the former Alabama wide receiver has. I mean, his nickname's Turbo for a reason, right? He is the guy that will take the top off a defense, but these two haven't necessarily been able to connect on those passes. Again, I think this is a really, really solid opportunity this week for Sam Leavitt to hone in that deep ball. If you remember last year, it took a few games for Sam to actually find it with Jordyn Tyson and some of those other wide receivers. This does feel like the opportunity back at home in your house on a short week off of a massive win against a ranked opponent that Sam and this offense can really put it all together. Like if there was an opportunity for Marcus to say, you know what, Sam, you're off the leash. Raleek, you're off the leash. We're doing everything. Our entire offense is available to us. I think this is the game to do it, given the fact that TCU against the pass is one of the worst teams in the Big 12. Getting back to the red zone, like part of things here, because I think most recently, especially given what we saw last week against Baylor, that was the more frustrating part, right? Is that this team had to settle for field goal after field goal after field goal. And I think it's almost like you said, Shane, like it's not a personnel problem, right? You have really talented players. It's just the field is obviously shrunk, right? When you are in the red zone, you don't have as much space to work with down there. So for me, it does become a personnel, not an issue, but more so that is how you are going to elevate this red zone offense, right? Your number one target in the red zone, regardless of size, I think you're always trying to scheme Jordyn Tyson open, right? Now, if they're bracketing Jordyn Tyson, I think, again, you look to the other weapon that we just discussed, Raleek Brown, right? How do you use Raleek Brown in an untraditional way to get him the football? I get Kanye Udo's the bigger back. I get he is more your traditional short yardage goal line back, but I think at the end of the day, Raleek Brown, again, he just possesses so much ability to make people miss. His low center of gravity, I think, is just a pain in the ass for defenses to have to deal with. And because of his size, in all honesty, it may sound silly. Like, it's difficult for linebackers to see Raleek Brown, especially given the size of Arizona State's offensive line.
Yeah,
so
I feel like he uses that to his advantage sometimes, because sometimes the camera on the broadcast loses him too.
Yeah, like that's, and I don't think we're seeing, I don't know, I don't have the exact snap count in front of me, but like, I just feel like we haven't seen enough Raleek Brown in the red zone as of late, specifically against a Texas State or against a Baylor. I think you've seen more of the bigger backs, which for me, if my first option is taken away in Jordyn Tyson, Raleek Brown is going to be my second option. I feel like he's earned that right, regardless of tight end, of other wide receivers. Raleek Brown is that talented to be your second option offensively.
Yeah. Speaking of pain in the ass offensively, I love this comment from a TCU fan saying, I think TCU are going to double Tyson, put a lot of guys in the box to stop the run, and for sure put a spy on Sam. TCU will be able to score, not worried about that. How are you going to do all three of those things at the same time?
Put a spy in double Tyson.
And put a bunch of guys in the box?
Yeah. I mean, you must be playing with 14 guys on defense if that's the case. I really, again...
But that does just pose the multiple threats that ASU has, and I'm not doing this to dunk on him, because obviously I don't think he means this all at the same time. But I think that points out how many weapons you have. You just got to find a way to use them more creatively, or not even creatively, because again, we talked about this more like last year. Yeah, similar to last year. So
and again, like I think they're still figuring it out. Right? Like, this was such a run-heavy team last year. This is a top 3 rushing attack in the Big 12 as it stands right now for Arizona State. So it's going to be an interesting watch, I think, Friday, right? Because all month I've been preaching balance. I've been preaching let's run the football and pass the football. Let's make it like a 70-30 game where we're running the ball with those backs maybe 70% of the time, and the other 30% we're opening it up with the play action and we're taking our shots and we do X, Y, and Z. The reason I think it's going to be interesting this week, and I wanted to save some of these stats till the end of the show, but it just feels like the natural point to talk about it. Like, TCU is not a team that gets after the quarterback. Like, overall, they're tied for 5th in the Big 12 with 8 sacks on the year. Now, that may sound a little misleading that they're tied for 5th and they don't necessarily get to the quarterback a lot, but there are several teams that are tied for 2nd and 3rd and 4th. So TCU definitely down the list there. Also, they're allowing opposing quarterbacks to have the 2nd highest average passer rating in the Big 12 at 153.2. The only team that is worse at defending opposing quarterbacks so far this season in the Big 12 is a team that just fired their head coach in Mike Gundy in Oklahoma State. Now, the difference in passer rating there that they're allowing is literally half a point. TCU average passer rating that they're giving up to opposing quarterbacks is $153.2. Oklahoma State $153.7. Neither one of these teams, obviously Oklahoma State, not good at defending opposing quarterbacks. TCU has given up the 2nd most passing touchdowns of any defense in the conference. On the ground, again, they don't give up a ton of yards, but opposing teams have really just been able to air it out. There hasn't necessarily been a need to run the football, considering most of TCU's games have been shootouts, right? TCU, like Tommy Fisher said, they air the football out. Josh Hoover with 1,000 passing yards, double-digit touchdowns already through the air this season with just 2 INTs. So like Tommy said, yeah, to his credit, TCU is going to score points. But on the opposite end, Arizona State is going to have to make the decision, okay, do we want to play this a back-and-forth game? Do we want to be under the lights at Mountain America Stadium, just let's play backyard football? We're just going to see whoever has the ball last, and that's ultimately who's going to win the game. Or do you want to control the clock? Do you want to control the pace and try and do the things that you did against Baylor that ultimately got you the dub, but execute a little bit better? Because at the end of the day, I think having that balance like you did against Baylor, is going to help you. But if you don't execute in the red zone and you don't hit on those shot plays this go around against TCU and you've limited those possessions, I think you lose this game simply because TCU does score a hell of a lot of points. And they have a really, really talented offense, which, again, we'll talk more about on tomorrow's show. Look, I want you guys to hear what QB1 Sam Leavitt had to say about those deep shots, about maybe somebody in this Arizona State offense that is going to have a bigger role. I promise we will get to that on the other side of this first break. Look, the PHNX Sun Devil, we got shows all week this week, which means Saturday and Sunday. Can kick my feet up and relax. And how am I going to be doing it? Well, I'm going to be doing it with Zen Leaf, because whether you're gearing up for game day, winding down after a hike up Camelback, or just trying to recover from another brutal weekend, do it with Zen Leaf Dispensary. Zen Leaf is your go-to spot for cannabis, but it doesn't just stop with flower. They got vapes, they got edibles, and more, of course, from all the brands that you trust. Now, the big thing for me, aside from the fact that they're trying to help you save money, which we'll get into here in a second, is the fact that it doesn't really matter where you live in the Valley of the Sun. If you live in Chandler, Gilbert, North Phoenix, well, they got locations for you, and it doesn't stop there. They got plenty of others, so it's easy to swing by before kickoff or order online for express pickup. Now, remember, I said they're going to try and help you save money, and they're doing it for a limited time only. When you guys use promo code ZENPHNX, you're going to get 50% off a one-time purchase. Zen Leaf, great weed, great service every single time. Now, I haven't done it yet. Let me do it for you. I got this energy drink here on my way in to the office this morning. I had to stop at Circle K. They had deals on energy drinks, deals on like Gatorades, Powerades, on snacks. But where you're really, really going to take advantage of the deals, it's when it comes to gas. And how are you going to do it? Well, you're going to sign up for Inner Circle. It's Circle K's free membership program. Super easy to get enrolled and get started. All you got to do is download the app in the App Store and then type in your email and phone number. Bada bing, bada boom. You're an Inner Circle member. It's their free membership program. Next time you pull up to the pump, you're going to save 25 cents per gallon just for being an Inner Circle member. Plus, there's plenty of other deals just about every single day. So make sure you join Inner Circle for free by downloading the Circle K app today. Terms and conditions apply at participating locations. Visit CircleK.com for details. Now, hit that like button, hit the subscribe button. Again, drop a 5-star review wherever you get your podcasts. I tell you every single day, if you've already done it, I appreciate you. I really, really do. If you haven't, I would appreciate you even more if you did it.
Shove it.
Shove it, huh? Yeah. The losers?
Yeah, the losers need to shove it.
Yeah, I mean, that's tough. It really is. Look, on top of doing all of those things that I ask you on a daily basis, maybe join the PHNX Cardinals crew for a pregame tailgate over at Chicken and Pickle in Glendale before the Cards take on the Green Bay Packers. Well, when is this taking place? October 19th at 11 a.m. There's going to be merch giveaways, yard games, drink specials, and so much more. It's going to be an absolute blast. Make sure you go to gophnx.com/events to RSVP for this free event. It's free. Free. It is free, ladies and gentlemen. Let's see. Wes Bezzi in the chat. What other podcast keeps us posted on all things ASU football and weed? Simple answer, nobody. Best pod ever. Appreciate you, Wes Bezzi. Looking forward to seeing Champ Westbrooks, man, as a starter, hopefully one day soon for this Arizona State offensive line. If you guys didn't know, Wes Bezzi is Champ Westbrook's dad. Champ, man, again, I don't want to get too far off the rails here. Has looked good. He's likely going to be a starter along this Arizona State offensive line in 2026. So definitely stay locked in on all of that. But getting back to the Arizona State offense this season, what we've seen, what needs to improve. Again, talking about the deep ball, I think for me, when we're looking at this Arizona State offense, and of course we talked on the post-game shows kind of about how Sam specifically, there are people that'll look at the box score, or there are fans that'll watch the game, and they're like, Sam could have been better, he could have done this, he could have done that. But at the end of the day, again, 22 of 32, like middle of 200-something passing yards, accounted for I want to say 2 total touchdowns. He connects on a deep ball with Jaren Hamilton, which they didn't throw a PI call on one of them because he was getting held the entire time. And there was another one that they did not connect on. If we're talking realistically, like let's say they connect on that, right? Because no one's catching Jaren. That's just the fact of the matter. We're talking about him going over 300 passing yards, completing nearly 70% of his passes, accounting for 3 touchdowns, right? So is it frustrating? Has Sam Leavitt been frustrated with the fact that they haven't been able to connect on those deep balls? Well, don't take my word for it. This is what QB1 had to say.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, you always want to see those hit. Got a couple of protection busts and penalties, which have been really frustrating. More so just because, we've kept a couple of these games close that they really didn't need to be close. I felt like, we could have really won the last game by 20-plus points if we just kind of keyed in on a couple things. So it's just getting back and dialing into the details and, progressing forward.
This is the week, man. I'm calling it. This is the week that Sam Leavitt connects on a touchdown pass that goes over 40 yards. And not a dink and dunk like a screen play, not like a deep over that's 12 yards that somebody takes it 40. This is one of the games where Sam, like all those NFL quarterbacks on Sundays do, where you're watching the game and you just see those shoulders cock back and you know what's coming next. I think you're going to see that this Friday night at Mountain America Stadium. I couldn't tell you who it's going to be off of. Maybe Jaren Hamilton. I mean, that's the guy immediately that I think of, again, as the burner on this offense. But, I mean, if we're talking about the biggest offensive play from a week ago, it's Derek Eusebio. Could Derek Eusebio be the guy for this Arizona State offense? I think he is certainly going to have a bigger role in this Sun Devil offense, at the very least this week. Now, I know Jalen Moss back at practice in some capacity today. Again, Kenny said on Monday that it would be probably doubtful that Jalen Moss would play. With that said, I didn't expect him to be back at practice. Even so, Eusebio getting the reps with the ones in the slot.
You said Moss is back at practice?
He was practicing in some.
Interesting.
Yeah, not. He wasn't 100% in practice today. But Eusebio was still getting the reps with the ones at the slot. So
what is it right now?
Eusebio, Tyson, and Malik are the 3 guys that you have out there right now.
That's insane.
It's awesome, though. I think it's so great.
It's deserved.
It's 100%. Like, talk about somebody that's earned it, man.
I can't wait for every single national game later in the year where we're so sick of the Eusebio story that they're like pushing on the national broadcast.
From walk-on to Arizona State starter.
Every time we're like, oh my God, we know.
It's just
I know this team is 8-1 and it's a cool story, but we get it.
Like this is your Ladidi McConkey. This is your Julian Edelman. This is your white boy wonder, man. This is the kid that has worked his ass off. And I think again, like this is just it is a cool story, like as it stands right now. But in all honesty, from a football perspective, like what we've seen from Eusebio at camp and practice, and now in the game, he's a weapon. You can't watch the tape of that game, and you can't watch the game and sit here and try and tell me that Derek Eusebio didn't play a massive role in Arizona State winning that football game against Baylor. 3rd and 13. Tyson's bracketed. I need somebody. Where is Sam Leavitt tossing it up the seam for 60 yards? It's Derek Eusebio, right? He's somebody that Sam and this offense can count on. And once they saw it, once Marcus and Kenny saw that Eusebio was able to make a play in game, they obviously tried to give it to him on the jet sweep. Interestingly enough, Kenny had said on Monday they didn't practice the jet sweep at all. Like earlier in the week, they didn't practice it a single time, but they trusted him because he stays ready.
That's why this coaching staff is awesome, and we said it on the watch along. Like after that big play, the next drive, that was the first play.
Yeah,
was get him the ball because he showed that he can make a play, and it wasn't a week adjustment. It wasn't even a halftime adjustment. That was a drive adjustment. That was something they were like, you know what, we're dialing this up because he has the hot hand.
Yeah.
And look, man, if Eusebio can continue to be him, like who he has been every time he's caught the ball, that would add such a big wrinkle to this offense. And being realistic, there's now Eusebio tape out there. So, you shouldn't expect 80-plus yards a game from Derek Eusebio.
No, but damn, I'd love it, man.
I'd love it too. But having that true slot receiver that you haven't had all year.
You didn't even have it last year.
Yeah.
Last year you had McClain, and there was an expectation that McClain would have a bigger role, right? I think that's one thing that hasn't been frustrating, but it's been very, very interesting to see that this offense, as long as Dilly has been here, has never had realistically, in all honesty, a true wide receiver 2 that it can count on every single game. There have been moments where wide receiver 2s have made plays, right? You look back specifically to last year, Xavier Guillory had his moments. You go back to the Big 12 championship or CFP game where Malik McClain was targeted a couple times, but there hasn't ever been like you watch a game and it's a true wide receiver 1 and a true wide receiver 2, and the quarterback is just kind of dicing up a defense going to either guy. It's always been Jordyn Tyson or it's always been Cam Scattaboo. Right? It's been a ground game or one wide receiver and a tight end. Is this the opportunity now where Arizona State can expand this offense into something that, we as Arizona State fans haven't even seen through the first 3 years of the Dillingham era because they just haven't had the opportunity to do it, right? Xavier Guillory was a phenomenal wide receiver. At times, he had issues dropping the football. Like, that's just point blank period the issue, right? Malik McClain hasn't been able to get open lately for those Arizona State Sun Devils. So if Derek Eusebio does prove to be somebody that can be a weapon, that can get open, that can read defenses, like that, I mean, we don't even really know how that is going to open up this offense because it's not something that you accounted for, right? Going into the year, what was it? It was Jordyn Tyson, a trio of running backs, a returning tight end, and then some potential special wide receivers. The potential hasn't been there yet, right? They haven't lived up to the potential. The tight ends, which we'll talk about here in a second, I think like are slowly starting to get in there, right? Specifically a Shimon Mateer. But other than that, it has been Tyson, the running backs, and Sam with his legs. Like Derek is somebody that I think, in all honesty, is going to put up numbers that people aren't expecting to see. Like 4 or 5 catches a game, I do not think is out of the question for him, which when was the last time consistently we've seen an ASU wide receiver 2 have 4 to 5 catches a game? When Brian Thompson was here, right? Like, was that the last time you saw?
I forgot about that guy.
Was that the last time that we saw an ASU wide receiver 2 like consistently have catches?
It has to be.
Right? So like this could be a difference
Brian
maker.
with a Y, by the way.
This could be a difference maker,
22.
man.
I was like, didn't he wear a gross number? 22.
Yeah, it was a gross number, man. It was a gross number. I also love the fact that Eusebio wears 83. Like that's
83 is a great number.
It's a great anything in the 80s is a great wide receiver.
Yeah,
number.
but 83 is like a slept on.
Yeah,
great number.
I would agree.
Yeah,
100% on that. And I think Eusebio will play a big role this week. I think regardless of the return of Jalen Moss, excuse me, I had a brain fart there. I think Derek Eusebio is at this point, he has earned those reps, and it's going to be up to Jalen Moss when he returns to come take those back. Genuinely, Parker says, "Yeah, Wes Welker number." Like,
we got to stop.
There's got to be some tie, right? There's like he knows. Derek Eusebio knows. Right, so I mean, if you're going to be Wes Welker, then be Wes Welker, man. He knows he's not built like Calvin Johnson, right? Like if you're going to be the white receiver on a football team, you're going to be in the 80s, and you're going to sit in the slot. You're going to give a little shimmy off the line of scrimmage, and that's going to be your thing, man. Like that's what he is going to do. I think it's going to be awesome.
Nobody puts Eusebio in a corner.
Nobody puts Eusebio in a corner. I mean, again, happy belated birthday, Derek. Again, as the fan club president here. I'm juiced. I'm amped to see Derek Eusebio under the lights Friday night. First game as a starter. Are you kidding me? Get your popcorn ready. But again, like if we can talk about it, we could talk about Derek Eusebio having all this potential. But what does Sam Leavitt think of an expanded role for Derek Eusebio? Man, he says he's earned it.
I mean, he's came to work and he's proved himself since last year. Honestly, I think he had the most yards and catches last fall camp. And it's just continually work. He's a guy who's always going to be in the right spot. He gets open in man and is really reliable, has a good feel for the game. So I like playing with him a lot and look forward to it.
I mean, that's exactly what you want your QB1 to say about a guy that the fan base hasn't really seen too much of, right? Before this year, when was the last time you saw Derek Eusebio? You saw him take a jet sweep on a house call against U of A, and people are like, who is that guy, right? He's been doing these things in practice every single day, but because he's not this, that, or another, right? Like he hasn't necessarily had an opportunity to go prove it on a big stage. He came through big in the clutch for Sam Leavitt in this offense against Baylor. He's earned this opportunity, and it is going to be a hell of it's going to be a hell of a watch to see him out there against TCU, and then potentially even further beyond that. I'm excited to see what this offense overall looks like at the end of a bye week. Next week, you obviously have to take care of business this week, but I think this is the point where, in all honesty, there after this game, there will be fewer conversations and worries about this Arizona State offense. And I think you've seen its progression week over week. Right now, we're talking about a wide receiver too, but how about tight end one? How about Shimon Mateer, who was missing against Mississippi State, who had a catch for 20 yards against NAU? Look what Shimon Mateer has done the last 2 games for these Arizona State Sun Devils. Again, week 1 versus NAU, just a catch for 20 yards. I mean, a big old goose egg against Mississippi State, but when the Sun Devils returned back home against Texas State, his best game as an Arizona State Sun Devil, 6 receptions for 60 yards and a touchdown. How did he follow up that performance with another 6-catch game for 55 yards? It feels like Shimon is back to activated here for this Arizona State offense. I mean, he is the security blanket for Sam Leavitt. We know what he provides in terms of run blocking for this offense. So the conversations of, hey, why isn't anybody else getting involved in this offense, right? That was the big ticket issue after week 2 against Mississippi State. It was, okay, it's all Jordyn Tyson. We're not running the football enough. Now it feels like we're going into this next game against TCU saying, hey, this team has an identity. They run the football. We know what wide receiver 1 does. Guess what? Tight end, the tight end's back. He's getting involved. 12 catches for over 100 yards and a touchdown over the last 2 games combined. And we just sat here for 15 minutes talking about the potential of a wide receiver 2, right? What that can bring to this offense. I mean, everybody is it Jalen Moss? Is it Malik McClain? Is it Zechariah Sample? Is it Jaren Hamilton? I mean, here we are. It's Derek Eusebio time, ladies and gentlemen. Are you ready? Grab your popcorn because it's going to be a hell of a ball game. But what about those other running backs in this offense? How does Kanye Udoh and Kyson Brown fit now that it feels like Raleek Brown has sort of solidified himself as RB1? I've got the answer for you on the other side of this quick break. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, Rally House. They've got you covered with all of your favorite local Arizona team gear with tens of thousands of products to shop from. I'm talking if you're a fan of the Arizona State Sun Devils, if you somehow are a fan of the Arizona Wildcats, if you love the Arizona Cardinals, if you're a Diamondbacks fan, what about the Phoenix Suns? Don't worry, Rally House, they have you covered literally with tens of thousands of products to shop from, even just for Arizona State. They have hundreds of pages, not hundreds of products, hundreds of pages full of different merch for you Arizona State fans. Of course, if you're going to a tailgate, you're going to a party, or you're going to the game itself, make sure you got your drip right. Rally House, they have got you covered. Find your local Rally House location and shop their entire product assortment online at rallyhouse.com today. Again, that is rallyhouse.com today. Of course, we talk about Mountain America Stadium so often, but I'm here to tell you about Mountain America Credit Union and all of the benefits that you guys can enjoy with Mountain America's My Style checking account. It's got perks just for you. You guys can enjoy so much. We're talking restaurant deals, mobile phone protection, telehealth access, identity protection, loan rate discounts, offers on travel and events, and so much more. Make sure you make My Style your lifestyle over at Mountain America Credit Union. Also, some things to keep in mind. Mountain America Credit Union, of course, a proud sponsor of Arizona State University. They're supporting hundreds of student athletes and the community, donating $250 to support university athletics for every field goal made this season. Shout out the one, the only Jesus himself. And then providing $20,000 in scholarships to local student athletes each year. Learn more at macu.com/ASU. Insured by NCUA. Terms, conditions, and exclusions apply. Loans on approved credit. Hit that like button. Hit the subscribe button. And join the supporters club. Why don't you? I see it feels like every single day I see so many supporters like joining this supporters club that we have. Of course, Short Bus, Sharon, Bees, Ben, so many of you. I know I'm missing a couple in there, but you guys have been awesome. Also, it tells us if you join when you're watching the Arizona State show, if you're an Arizona State member, let's beat all the other groups out here, okay? Let's beat the Cardinals. Let's beat the Suns. Let's beat the Wildcats for damn sure. We got to make sure we've got more supporters in the supporter club.
The Sparky, I just checked in. The Sparky emoji is still
in process.
It's still in transit. The truck that was carrying it actually got hit by another truck.
Oh no!
And it flipped. The driver's okay.
How's Sparky?
Yeah,
it's okay. We'll get Sparky soon. In the meantime, if you are already in the supporters club, throw up the forks up. Throw up those emojis that, again, you guys are the only ones that have access to.
Or spam the Johnny Chug one.
Or spam the Johnny Chug one. You could do that as well. How do you join, though, Shane? Is it a super difficult thing to do?
No, it's super easy, and I'll make it even easier by putting the link in the chat right now and pinning it to the top of the chat.
Love that.
But if you're on desktop, the join button is right next to the subscribe button. And if you're on mobile, it's going to be in the chat, as well as being in the description of all of our shows.
We do have AZ Cats here that is a member. Sharon, are they holding him hostage in Tucson? Do we have a breaking update on that? On if the Sparky has been captured since the truck collision?
That'd be bad.
No, we're not. I guess we're not talking about it. Sharon, I'll let you know. I'll DM you in the Discord if you need to go rescue him. Wes Bezzy, I'm going to hold you to that. Says he's joining as the Sparky emoji as soon as the Sparky emoji gets here. So can't wait, man. Can't wait to have you a part of this supporters club. I do want to dive into the running backs a little bit more because this is the first few weeks of the season have been so wild to watch the rotation of these Arizona State running backs. Of course, Kyson Brown went down against Mississippi State, missed the majority of that game, was somewhat healthy last week against Baylor, but at the end of the day, his production and honestly his run out there wasn't a ton. They didn't use him a ton in this offense, but at the end of the day, Kyson Brown was getting reps with the ones again today. He is somebody that I fully anticipate being back in the fold near 100%, if not 100%, against TCU on Friday. I think when we talk about the Arizona State running backs and the production and how can Arizona State use them, I think for me, it's more so about keeping all these guys fresh, right? Keeping Kyson, keeping Raleek, keeping Kanye fresh because they all do so many different things. And to be able to say, hey, we've got Kyson Brown in the fourth quarter who's fresh and only has had a couple carries, or we've got Raleek Brown who's fresh, or Kanye Udo who's fresh. I think that means a lot. Now, I know there are some folks, Eric Ruby being one of them, who is in the camp of you're going to ride the hot running back, right? If somebody is on fire, if they're going for back-to-back 100-yard games, why not give it to him? I think, again, when you look at what occurred this past week against Baylor, it was less about like the personnel and more so about the way that Baylor tried to limit this Arizona State ground game, which is why versus TCU, I would expect you see a little bit more of what we saw against NAU, which is you're going to see, in my mind, more of a share between Kyson and Raleek than you're accustomed to seeing over the last specific 2 weeks. I think in terms of production, I think Kanye out of the three of them is probably most likely to get the fewest carries. Again, just based off of usage, Kanye Udo has really shown to be the short yardage, third down, goal line back, which I wouldn't anticipate that to necessarily change this week. But I think being able to go into the fourth quarter and look at the usage of these running backs and say, hey, you know what? Kanye's got 5 carries going into the fourth quarter. Kyson has 10. Raleek has 8. I think what that is going to do in terms of being able to make sure that all of these guys are realistically able to go in and close out the game for you, I think that is what you're looking forward to being able to do with this three-headed monster at running back.
I also think it would be so scary as a defense when, like, look, I'm taking the under in this game again. It's like 56 or something, and I know that seems crazy again, but I just think ASU is going to control that pace of play. ASU is going to have a couple of those drives where they go 10 plays, 6 minutes, 75 yards. 8 runs out of 10 plays. And on that 8th run in a row, or on that 7th run in a row, we're going to see a head tap. Raleek's going to be like, I need one,
New
coach.
back.
Kanye Udo hasn't gotten a carry this entire game yet. And then the defense is tired as hell. You can't rotate them as fast as you can rotate these 3 running backs. And then, hits the outside, and no one has fresh enough legs to keep up with him. Like, that's the scariest thing about this offense, I think. And that's a funny thing to say when you have Biletnikoff favorite right now.
Yeah, no, it's 100% true. And we haven't seen it, right? We haven't been in a position where it's the end of the game and Arizona State is up and they can just turn and hand it to their guys, right? There have been so many unique situations this year where it's been like, okay, well, Kyson's out, right? Or we're trailing. Or this is a back and forth game that we can't currently run the football. It's just we're airing it out. Like, Arizona State is a team, in all honesty, that is built to put games away when they're up 14 points. When you have 3 running backs and 3 tight ends that are the size of the tight ends that Arizona State has with the, prowess that they have when it comes to run blocking, once they're up 14 and they have 3 running backs, they can dominate you. They can control a game, completely take it over, and put it away, right? If Arizona State was winning that game against Mississippi State by a score, I mean, we're talking about a completely different season up to this point, right? Because look at the way Arizona State ran the football in the second half against Mississippi State, right? You're telling me that fourth quarter, that 10-minute drive, if they're up 7 already at that point, what that does to the emotions of the opposition, right? What that does to cooling down an offense when they have to sit and just wait it out the entire time. Like, it is going to make a difference. Like, if you are an opposing team in this conference, you do not want to be trailing Arizona State going into the fourth quarter with them having the ball because it is a recipe for disaster. This team is built to close games. They just haven't necessarily been put in a position by the coaching staff. And given the way that the games have gone, we haven't really got to see that closer mentality and closer version of this offense, in all honesty. So that's my 2 cents on the running backs. I don't think it's just a Kyson Brown, Kanye Udo discussion with Raleek in terms of like, hey, where are some of these other weapons going to come into play? Kamari Anderson is somebody that I was really high on after spring football in fall camp. Like, somebody that was consistently out there making plays, but we didn't see him, right? We haven't really seen him go out there and make a ton of plays for this Arizona State offense. Him, AJ Ia, like, I'm wondering where AJ Ia is at this point. Again, AJ Ia is one of the most talented players on this roster in my mind, especially the most talented freshman. So is he going to be able to help this offense get out of maybe some of the slumps that it's been in? Is he the answer to the red zone, potentially?
What is he doing in practice?
Practicing.
But like, where is he? Like, in the depth
he's with the twos. He's with the twos as it stands right now. It's
and you haven't seen, like, there is no playbook issue. There's no
like at the start of the year, it was obviously the injury, right? But like, he wasn't really on the injury report last week, right? He wasn't listed as out.
And I think he had a snap at the end of the game against Texas State. So.
Yeah. So he's somebody that, again, I think you can, like, there's got to be a role for AJE here. Again, I don't know if they're working him in. Maybe it's like, hey, we're not there with you yet because these games have been so close that we feel confident in throwing you in there.
Kenny's like, let's try to survive until the last 4 games of the season so we can keep your red shirt.
Potentially, like, that's definitely in there. So I'm very interested to see again against TCU if the offense does sputter, which I don't anticipate it doing. Does Kenny and Marcus make like a decision to be like, okay, let's try something new, similar to the way that they tried something new at the end of that Baylor game, right? We didn't see Eusebio like the entire game. And then he was in the game, made some plays, and we saw him the rest of the game. Yeah. So, like, is that the case this week? If there are still issues, in the red zone, do they make personnel decisions to be like, okay, Kamari, you're out, or Shaman, you're out, AJ, you're in. Let's see, if somebody can just go out there and make a play. And kind of on that same token, of course, Jaren Hamilton and Malik McClain, right? Those have been 2 guys that there has been so much offseason discussion about their role in this offense. What are they doing? Statistically, it's obviously not there. There have been some penalties, both their fault and on the opposition's end, that have really limited them from making those big plays and having a massive impact in the game. Kenny said on Monday, it's not necessarily that these guys aren't getting open on the back end. It's that they're not necessarily in the right. They're not scheming. They need to be better in terms of scheming, like route combinations on the back end of what Jordyn Tyson is doing. That way, if Jordyn isn't open, that it does provide Malik and Jaren a better opportunity to actually beat man coverage.
Can I just say something? If I was the offensive coordinator, you know what I would do?
Tell me.
Every single play of the game.
Every single play of
the game, I would run Jaren Hamilton on a go, and then lined up right to his right on the strong side, I would have Jordyn Tyson run a post. And whoever is the least double teamed, I'm throwing the ball to. Every play.
Whoever's the least double teamed, I'm here for it, honestly.
I'm excited. I know we already talked about Kyson, but I'm excited to see Kyson fully healthy again because he was so damn good to start the year. And whether you think he was full go or not last week, I think it's pretty clear he wasn't after Kenny said he's a full go this week.
Yeah, 1,000%. And I think that's I think people low-key forgot that going into the year, obviously this coaching staff has seen all these running backs. Kyson was RB1, right? It may sound silly. You don't just get to wear the number 1 just for giggles. That's not just because you want the number and you've been here a while. You don't just get to be number 1.
Your roomie's number 1 now.
Right? You have to be a bad dude to do that. And Kyson has that number for a reason. I'm sure Kyson has seen everything where it's Raleek's RB1, Raleek's this, Raleek's that. And I know they all support each other and that RB room's a family. The whole team's a family. You're tripping if you don't think Kyson Brown wants to be the starting running back here and go for 15, 20 carries a game and run through mother lovers' faces. That's what he has the potential to do. He's valuable when it comes to pass pro, when it comes to receiving as well. People have forgotten really quickly that Kyson Brown is a bad man. And I think, again, Kyson and Raleek and Kanye, when all of them are healthy and they can all be in this offense, that's when Arizona State's offense, sure, why not?
I want to see the wishbone triple running back
I don't want to see the wishbone. I want to see more of the Wildcat.
Yeah.
And I want to see it with Raleek taking the snap and Kanye or Kyson opposite.
What about split back Wildcat? So you have all three.
You have all three there? Who's taking the snap?
It could be different each play. Ben Coleman can pick and choose.
Ben's picking and choosing? Oh, man. I don't know, man.
No, that wouldn't work. I don't think that would work at all, actually. This is the first time I think I've ever agreed with one of M's comments. They said, we need a diva. Just one wide receiver with character concerns.
We need a wide receiver with character concerns?
Come on, man.
I don't know, man.
I need Jaren Hamilton to come out.
Have character concerns?
Yeah, to come out on at tomorrow's
practice. This team doesn't add players with character concerns. And they sure as hell don't keep players on the roster that have character concerns.
At tomorrow's practice and be like, give me the damn ball, Kenny. What the hell is going on?
That's what you're going to say? Or
that's what I want Jaren to say.
I think you should line up at wideout and then have character concerns. Yeah. Just throw your helmet on the ground and be like, give me the ball, man.
Yeah, and they're like, who are you? Please get out. Sir,
yeah. Well, Dilly would know who you are.
Sir, you're under arrest.
Sir, they're going to arrest you?
Yeah.
It's tough for the program. Our program, not the football program.
Yeah.
So I'm going to need you to not get arrested.
Yeah.
Jeez, man. Oh, man. Hit that like button. Hit the subscribe button.
Oh, yeah. Let's do that thing that Detroit did last night where did you see this? They handed it off. They had
like
first of all,
they had a capital I formation.
So yeah, they do the super I, which is they have quarterback, then tight end, then fullback, then running back. Or maybe, no, it was quarterback, fullback, running back.
Yeah.
Inside of the 5 on 4th and 3 or whatever, fourth and goal, they needed to score, obviously. They put Amon-Ra split out in the backfield in an I, and then behind him they had Jahmyr Gibbs, and they handed it off to Amon-Ra on a sweep, and he pitched it to Jahmyr Gibbs.
I'm here for it.
It was great.
I'm absolutely here for that. Says
nothing crazy.
Nothing crazy, just a felony speeding or something, then drop to a misdemeanor and then balls out. I don't think you'll get that. Knocking on wood that you don't get that.
Yeah, I don't want felony speeding.
No, it's that.
What would be the most harmless crime?
The most harmless crime?
Yeah.
Theft, probably, but somebody was kicked off the team already for that.
That's not harmless, though. You're harming.
Well, it depends what you steal.
Well, no, you're harming somebody.
I think theft is probably.
I would say
Trespassing?
Yeah, because they were just like hanging out.
Jaywalking, yeah, but is jaywalking even a crime?
And that's not diva.
No.
Like
that's not like wide receiver. Can you imagine Adam Schefter tweets out like Jamar Chase has been arrested for jaywalking?
God. Who's the most likely person in this conference to get arrested for jaywalking?
In the conference?
Yep. Jalen Daniels.
That was good. That was really. I was gonna give you like a real answer, and then you came out with that one. So, congratulations, man.
Tax evasion. Perfect.
Tax evasion. Yeah, M says Georgia's done it for years. Yeah, they have, but they haven't ever like the receivers haven't been the reasons that they win games. Yeah. Like I don't even know if they have diva receivers. They just have guys who break the law.
Yeah, which isn't great.
No, not great. In all honesty, just I mean, call a ride sharing app, man. No free ads. Call a ride sharing app. It's pretty easy, pretty simple. Look, we've talked about the entirety of the offense, except obviously a really big group, literally and physically. That is the Arizona State offensive line, a group that I think again. There have been things to really like, and there have been question marks. I think when it comes to the question marks, it's pretty obvious that the pass protection has been a little lackluster at times. I think that overall the pass pro was much improved against Baylor, but of course you kind of lost the ground game in a sense there. Kenny said on Monday that there is the potential that we see a little bit more Jalen Clem involved in this offense. What does that mean in terms of like the rotation? Is he rotating in a tackle? Are they just going to throw in an extra tackle out there instead of maybe a tight end in some of these formations? And again, what does that mean in terms of creativity? If Jalen Clem's in the game, is it just 100% we're running the football and it's our guys versus your guys? Or is it going to be kind of in a world where Marcus can get creative and use Jalen Clem as somewhat of a passing option from time to time, the way we've seen previous offenses, not necessarily at Arizona State, but across the NFL, across college football, utilize some trick plays with those bigger guys up front. But again, TCU tied for 5th in the Big 12 when it comes to bringing down the quarterback with 8 sacks so far this season. I think this is a really solid opportunity, again, for this Arizona State offensive line from left to right, Josh Atkins, Ahanachor, Ben Coleman, to take advantage of what I believe is a relatively suspect TCU defense through and through, all the way around. I think this ASU offensive line is in a position to handle this TCU defensive front in a way that is going to allow Sam Leavitt to sit back there, pick apart a defense, throw it to the Jordyn Tysons, throw it to the Eusebios, and then of course getting back to what we talked about, taking the top off, right? Taking those shot plays to a Jaren Hamilton or a Tyson or a Malik McClain. It really does start up front. Everything starts up front. The red zone offense starts up front. The deep ball starts up front. And realistically, just the offense as a whole having synergy and firing on all cylinders, it starts with that Arizona State offensive line. So there's going to be a lot of pressure on them to have success in this game. And again, I'm interested to see what the role looks like for Jalen Clem, if he is out there at all. But that's just my 2 cents on the whole thing.
Do you think he replaces the Big Bub?
No, I don't think so.
You don't think he replaces anybody on the line?
I don't think so. Not in terms of starter. And he's more of a tackle than he is a guard. He's got great length to be a tackle. I still don't think he's got the overall like weight to be a tackle as it stands right now, which is why I think it's interesting to potentially throw him in there instead of one of your extra tight ends, and have him in a position where he is like overall bigger than what a traditional tight end would be, and how that would improve the ground game from time to time, and how that would ultimately change like TCU, for example, if Arizona State goes out there in 13 personnel and instead of one of those tight ends, it's Jalen Clem, right? Does TCU from a personnel standpoint, like how are we playing that? How are we substituting?
I mean, you got to play man against Jalen Clem.
You'd think.
He's running a flat.
You'd think, right? Screw the flat. Go on a go ball, Jalen. Let's go. Let's go get him, right? If that's the first go ball that's completed, eyebrow slit. If it's a Jalen Clem 40-yard touchdown, it's got to be.
I think just a Jalen Clem touchdown.
Just a Jalen Clem touchdown requires a
only Ruby has to do it though.
Okay, I'm here for that. We'll see what happens. Yeah, Wes Beasy, my bad. I saw that comment. Says Clem needs to add about 30 pounds to play guard. Yeah, he's still a little light. Shorpa saying, can I gift my other membership to West Beasy? You are more than welcome to gift whatever you'd like.
I don't know if that's physically possible, but you can.
Yeah, I don't know. Oh, I know what he's trying to, because he has it on another account. Yeah, I don't know how you would do that.
You can just give him the account information.
Yeah, you could. You could just give him the account information and you could change it. But that is entirely up to you, to be honest with you. But that is going to do it.
Hell yeah, it is.
For today's episode of the PHNX Sun Devils show. Of course, we tried to hit every avenue of offense. I promise tomorrow we'll be swapped. We're going to be talking about Arizona State's defense taking on a really, really prolific TCU offense led by furry quarterback Josh Hoover. But like I said, that's going to do it today. If you enjoyed today's content, then throw us a follow. Throw us a bone on social at PHNX_Sun Devils. You can follow me at Anthony_Totri. You can follow the Deli Man at Shane Deef.
Needing probably about 120 pounds to play guard as always.
And we will see you guys on Wednesday. In the meantime, go Devils. And peace.
But Kenny, I'm ready.
We all silly like the mayor.